Hey Casper Warriors, today we're going to be looking at some fresh ideas in the rat defense that can also arise from the Philidor. Hey, before we dive in, allow me not to waste your time by sharing something exciting. Check this out! Using my own little programming skills, I just built a brand new KaspaChess website where you can access my new chess courses plus some of the classic favorites. Even though thousands of my committed students have found success with these courses, purchasing them is how you help this channel and our growth. Please, I would love your honest feedback on the new look and feel. First, let me show you one nasty trap to always look out for and avoid by all means in the Philidor. After e4, e5, knight f3 and d6. Of course, white is going to play pawn to d4, which is the top played move, after which you can transpose the game back to the rat defense like this. Although this is called the Hanam variation, how does this resemble the rat? It's like white started with e4, then we played d6, and after d4 we played knight d7, which is called the rat defense. And it is here where white may play knight f3, the top played move, after which you can go pawn to e5, transposing back to the Philidor defense Hanam variation. I love starting with e5 just to keep things simple. Now here's the thing, instead of taking back right away, white may play bishop c4, kind of the scotch if you think about it. The only move you want to remember in the rat defense, even when you run out of moves, is this one, pawn to c6. Just play this even if you don't know what you're doing. Chess will play itself. Just an example, if you carelessly play something like knight f6, which is already bad, white can simply take, and after you take back, they may hit you with knight g5 and there's no defense on f7. Of course, there was something you could do, maybe taking back with the knight, but that doesn't still count. For example, knight takes. Are you willing to lose your queen and a free pawn? That's the question. Another mistake would be a move like bishop e7, which may lead to this losing position where white plays queen d5, and look at this, you have no defense whatsoever. In fact, there's a game where Grandmaster Firouzja Alireza went on to defeat a chess master in less than 10 moves using this variation. So it is because of this queen d5 possibility why I'm emphasizing on playing pawn to c6 whenever you have a chance, as early as move 4 or move 5. So after setting up your Philidor defense structure, and say white plays bishop c4 in this position, at best you want to take on d4, at worst you want to go c6, preventing queen d5 in advance. Now here's where the little trap may occur. White may take on e5, and after you take, they might try the following: bishop takes. I should mention this is bad for white only if you know exactly what to do. Point is, after you take the bishop, they then follow it up with knight takes e5, so that if you carelessly take back like this, they then grab your free queen. So this is one cheap trap you always want to avoid. Let me show you the remedy. If bishop takes happens in this exact position, just take back. And after knight takes e5, don't take back. Play king back to e8. That's it. You might say queen h5 check could be played. Well, just simply go pawn to g6. There's nothing much happening. And after knight takes, you simply go knight gf6. This is an attack on the queen. If white takes the rook, you take their queen. So they'll be forced to play something like queen h4, still preventing you from capturing their knight. But the main move is actually bishop b4. This is check. Point is, after c3, now that's when you attack that knight. If pawn takes, you take back on g6 with the rook. That's it. And if e5 is played, you still take the knight on g6. If ef, you just save your bishop. And if check, you just capture the pawn. You see, putting your bishop on a5 also defends the queen indirectly. So white is not gonna win that for free. If you don't like the idea of going bishop b4 check, you can still go rook g8. It's still a move, but be rest assured white is gonna save their knight like this. So only play bishop b4, then bishop a5 later if you want to keep your bishop pair. By the way, after knight takes, the best you can do is to take back with the other knight. Taking back with the rook will kind of bring back white into the game, although that's fine, but you just want to take back with your knight. Even if bishop g5 comes, at least you have queen a5 check, and that's going to hit the bishop, so bishop d2, then finally queen e5. You also have queen e7 and knight g6 or rook g4. So that's how you solve this cheap trap. Just take and bring back your king to e8. From there, don't be defensive. Apply offense is the best defense throughout the game. Lastly, after e4, e5, knight f3, d6, d4, and knight d7. If white takes immediately on e5, just capture. And after bishop c4, once again, you can just play pawn to c6 to prevent queen d5. Of course, the main line is to go bishop b4, provoking c3, then you go bishop d6. But you're not going to remember that, are you? So to keep things simple, just go pawn to c6, preventing queen d5. If bishop g5, you have queen c7, or you can even play bishop e7. That's it. Next, knight gf6, castle shot. If knight g5, double attacking the f7 pawn, you always have knight h6. What if they play queen h5? You can play g6, also knight f6 if you want, but the safest is to play queen f6. Next, you develop your pieces in harmony and castle like that. What if they play knight f3? You can even exchange queens or just go pawn to g6. In these kinds of positions, never be ashamed of exchanging queens if that's what the position allows. Never be stingy. Again, after knight g5, just go knight h6. If they play queen f3 this time instead of queen h5, again you can go queen f6. Once again, never be stingy with your queen trade, especially when you're black. You have limited options. It's white's kingdom. By the way, I should submit that even knight f6 works in this position, since white can take due to your knight on h6. But this may allow queen b3 to be played, and these are moments where you want to put your queen on c7, also defending that. On the next move, you want to play bishop c5 or bishop d6 and castle shot easily. Or say if knight back to f3, trying to do this, you can take on e4, that's alright, take. So that if bishop takes happens, you take back like that. Maybe you're not even going to castle short, you will most likely castle long after moves like bishop f5 and that. Your queen is on c7, remember, so you're not going to be attacked on that side of the board. Rook d1, bishop d6 does it for me. Or simply bishop c5, threatening to take, and that will force white to go back. Then you can easily castle or play bishop g6, or even taking on f2, so that after rook takes, you now go e4, or simply castling long and threaten to checkmate. After this sequence of moves, the rook can't move, so knight e1 and rook takes, checkmate. So now it is time for me to walk the talk, to try these Philidor defense or rat defense ideas. Let's go with the rat defense, but I love starting with pawn to e5 sometimes, going straight into the Philidor, then introducing knight d7 after d4. Yes, so this is the easiest way to transpose to the rat defense. Whenever you see bishop c4, the easiest is to go on c6. Now there's one trap in the rat defense that you need to get used to and know at heart. If I take, my opponent can sacrifice their bishop on f7, and after that knight takes, knowing I can't take back. Yeah, kind of the tennis on gambit trappy line. Nevertheless, it's not even losing. Yeah, there is bishop takes, king takes, knight takes. Oh, my opponent missed that. So you can go knight h6, defending the f7 pawn. At this point, I'm supposed to be very fast. Yeah, I guess this move, knight f6. Okay, so let's go. I think bishop c5 for now. And just holding on to my pieces, I have bishop g4. Now my opponent is attacking from this angle. I can simply castle short. All the attacks are gone. Now it is short time for me, putting more pressure on the f2 pawn. At this point, I don't even mind capturing the rook. I guess that's what I'm going to do. If rook f1, I'll just sacrifice 2 pieces. Maybe. Not even sure. This doesn't look right. I can just capture like that if I want, right? Oh, wait a second. There's a tricky line that my opponent has prepared. If rook takes, they have check. Wait a second. Rook takes, check. Yeah, this is a very tricky line. So let me just sidestep. And then check. I have check. They're going to lose the knight. Yep. So this is what happens when you become overzealous in chess. And then I have this other idea of playing pawn to b5. First, let me start with this knight. Yeah, my opponent just resigned. I mean, they don't have anything in this position. Trust me, I have that check. In fact, I was planning to free up my light squad bishop, you know, go queen c5, and just try to find a way to checkmate my opponent very quickly. Let's do this. I'm going to play the rat defense against d4, just to show you that this also works. You can see my opponent just transposed back to the king's pawn game. Now knight d7, preparing for pawn to e5. This is a rapid match, by the way. Bishop b5 is not really a good move. It kinda helps me to do what I want, what I intended earlier, putting my c pawn on c6. This is how the rat defense goes, for those who know. And I can even play pawn to b5. I don't know what my opponent is really doing. They are just helping me to do whatever I want. So let's do this. In fact, a5 is coming. You see, my opponent is not doing a great thing. So now I can play e5. The idea is to take back on e5 with my d pawn. I'm way ahead in development. They want to checkmate me like this. It doesn't work. So if I want, I can play queen e7, followed by knight gf6. If I want to fianchetto my bishop, I can play pawn to g6, knight f6, bishop g7. So what am I going to do? Let me play... Yeah, queen e7 is a little bit passive, though it can still work. My dark squad bishop will be disadvantaged. So let's attack, play knight gf6, bishop g7. Queen f3, knight gf6. If I want, I can play this to free up my light squad bishop, but this kind of makes sense. Bishop g5, bishop g7. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. Can I take back with my knight? Okay, let's do this just to maintain the pawn structure. Still, that move is coming. Bishop g7. I could have played bishop e7 or so, and then castle shot. So this is the safest way of playing the rat defense. Almost said the fianchetto gambit, because it looks like the fianchetto gambit somehow. So normally your queen has to sit on c7, but there's no need to put my queen on c7 for now. How about I just attack the light squad bishop like this? So I want to go bishop e6 next. Guess my opponent is going to castle long. Oh, no. Then we attack that bishop one more time. And maybe I might even take back with my f-pawn to pave the way for my rook, because I don't listen. Yeah, first we get rid of that bishop. It was kind of disturbing my plans. Now what else? Maybe this is a great move. It's going to attack the bishop. Yeah, my opponent didn't see that. They just hanged their dark squad bishop. What stuff? And this is a rapid match, by the way. I want to do a little trick, but it's not going to work at this point. I'm waiting for my opponent to move there. Oh, wait a second, it can work. I want to attack the queen. Let's just do this. Still have knight d4 and that. So knight d4 first. I'm not afraid of this move. By the way, I'm just up a piece. Now I'm looking at this move, trying to find a great way to pin my opponent's queen. So let's begin with that. Also paving the way for my dark squad bishop. And position for white is very shaky because if they play queen back to d2, I still have bishop h6. Yep, so bishop h6, pinning the queen to the king. If knight g5, I'll just take maybe pawn to f4 will come to the rescue. Okay, my opponent just gave up whatever they had to. Yeah, let me just take. That's check. And then take. Yeah, my opponent is just, making last moves. Now, check this out, you guys. If you want to learn more about these kinds of tricks or similar opening ideas like the ones I just shared, you can watch this video that has popped up on the top left. Another video that I highly recommend you check out to skyrocket your rating is this one that has popped up on the top right. But if you love Gambit videos, you can check out the video that has popped up on the bottom left. And if you are a lover of chess traps like myself, feel free to click on the video that has popped up on the bottom right.